Welcome back to the North American server, to the Home Story Cup 9 Top 8 tournaments. This best of 5 currently underway. This is game number 3, but this best of 5 determines which player gets a fully paid trip to go to Home Story Cup 9. Which of our favorite players will get there, or new faces might arise. Regardless though, spawning in the top left corner of the map, he's currently leading 2-0 at the moment in a big way. He's in a really strong position. It is Samsung Galaxy's Armani, who has asked that you guys check out his Twitter, specifically at Samsung Armani on Twitter.
In the bottom right, as the red Terran, it is CM Storm's Polt.
You know what? Again, I know it's not in Polt's repertoire. He's not a cheesy Terran, but I almost want him to just demuzzle it up. You know, you're on your last legs. The last thing Armani's going to expect is like an 888, 2 racks. You know, something a little bit cheesy.
I love how one qualifier turned that into a saying.
Yeah, well, I mean, the thing is, though, you qualify for Challenger League doing, like, 90% the exact same thing. All jokes aside, though, honestly, though, guys, I do think, I wouldn't call it a weakness of Polt's, because, I mean, let's be honest, Polt doesn't have a lot of weaknesses, but you don't see him cheese much of often.
I could say that was a weakness, honestly. I mean, it's a weakness he overcomes, being just so strong everywhere else, but, you know, the best players are the ones who play the best subs very well. That's why MVP was king once upon a time. Anyways. Oh, we have something interesting from Armani. He's going for a pool first and a gas. So if
it's price for the Reapers.
Well, it helps against the Reapers, obviously. It gets a queen, it gets those lings early, and the battle boost is so much faster. So 3 Reapers is not a problem. Like, the 3rd Reaper doesn't even come out until speed is already finished. But you can go ahead and kind of like a contain. If they go to the low ground command center, they don't scout this, you can cancel it. It's a pretty big deal.
That's true. The other thing too with Reapers that's really nice in this map is, of course, there's multiple ways into the base. You get that little backdoor cliff, as the intro shows, but also your typical shenanigans, just running through, jumping up the ramp, moving through the natural as per normal.
Yeah. Yeah, it's certainly not a bad map for Reapers, and that's it's a good reason to go ahead and get something that pretty much shuts them down.
This is, you know, it's so weird too, because, I mean, can you think of Wings Celebrity, like, when we would ever see, like, gas first pool that wasn't something that was meant to be a little bit cheesy? Now it's just, like, the standard integrated part of, like, every TVZ matchup.
Yeah, it definitely has incorporated itself into the build orders of, you know, normal.
I really like the way the game's changed, and unfortunately this Reaper is going to be, predictable, so Zerglings were there waiting. Yeah. Oh, you know what? Side note, Hendros did something really cool that I didn't realize. If you put the spawning pole there on the bottom part of the creep there, it actually gets vision of that cliff.
Interesting. That does put it really far away. For, like,
it does
later on, but
it does. But it's like I thought he had just misplaced it. I was like, why would you go out of your way to do that? Then I realized that the vision thing was really cool.
Yeah, I wonder if that, you know, really helped him out. I don't know. Pretty much you only get one good jump up there, by the way, because you gotta wait for the Reaper to go all the way around if it doesn't cut through the base, which
right, and it takes like 30 seconds, as fast as Reapers are, to go like all the way around from one entrance to the other. Now he does trade pretty nicely with this queen, and a big part of this is because the creep hasn't spread much at the moment, but Polt's getting a little bit low there.
You should have recognized that this was a pull first, though, so those Reapers should be going back home. He saw the gas, right?
Even if he didn't, it's that kind of just, you know the clock timing, 6 minutes. That's kind of when Reapers start expiring.
6 minutes definitely leave, but this was 30 seconds earlier, as you can see, so he should have left a little bit earlier. I think he's still going to be okay. Maybe one Reaper will go down, but it's going to buy enough time for the other Reapers to go ahead and get back.
Well, back at home with Starport on the way. We haven't seen any Banshees come out of Polt so far. Might be kind of an interesting dynamic, but he snipes off one of the Reapers, trying to use the, I guess, the ring around the rosy mechanic of the bunker. Yeah. Hopefully it gets complete a little bit sooner. That
was pretty nice. Usually you just see them run away, try again later, but that was pretty cool. Now the Hellions are going to be on the way. That Starport looks like it's in position to go ahead and transfer over to this tech lab, but the tech lab is a little late.
It is a little bit late, yeah. That's what I was saying. Like, he had the 2 gas, but I think he was really busy with the Reaper jumping around, so he didn't really go to make that in time. But he will make the Viking first anyways, so maybe it won't be late. I mean, it's the Polt Viking after all.
Yeah. Could have been because it was late, so he just says, you know, F it. Could have been that was a plan all along. Usually, like, honestly, just puts the Starport wherever if he's going to go for the
No, it's not even gonna be Banshees. I was gonna say, I forgot. This is
Yeah.
Polt. He's making Marauders. It makes total sense. It's
Yeah,
strange too, because
so-
you would think like there should be some trend set. Like you see Polt do this, you see him get victories with it. You'd think we see a lot more players do this, but no. Polt is really the only player that goes for quicker Marauders like this.
He is. I mean, sometimes if they get like a, you know, an idea that Roger's on their way, of course they get the Marauders. But he's the only one that gets always the safe Marauder, and sometimes those 4 Marauders.
Alright, so a couple Overlords getting picked off here.
Oh, whoa, this is a... Whoa, that barracks was hidden. We didn't even see it. Like, did you see that?
What the one down here said? Well, I just didn't think much of it. It didn't have any reaction.
No, it's a huge deal. I mean, that was... He delayed his 3rd command center for a very long time. He was gonna do something off of 2 bases, and, you know, try and catch Armani without a Baneling Nest. But now Armani saw that, so...
I don't know. I don't think it was going to work. Like, if he had picked off the Queen earlier or something, I think the follow-through would have been a lot stronger. Because, again, even just Queens like this, they stop this much less any Marines to come out of this. But now that the reactor's going down and the starport's been swapped, we may actually... Or not swapped, he actually has a reactor on it. We're going to start seeing those medevacs come out. So, one thing we haven't seen out of Polt so far in this series, drops. Drops have been kind of, I don't know, lackluster. He's got a couple good Doom drops off in previous matches versus Stork, but nothing so far versus Armani.
Yeah.
Downside though, there's gonna be Mutalisks possibly catch these. Hellions decide to go for the suicide run, trying to get in there for those tasty drones, but the Lings do clean these up really nicely. So Polt's gonna get a decent trade for this, but at the end of the day, I mean, the goal was to go for drone kills, not have to retreat out and lose most of the Hellions.
I thought he was gonna go for early burrow. I was like, interesting. This has been something people have been incorporating, but no, decides to sit on that Baneling Nest instead, and that's a good move to throw down at this time. I mean, as we can see, Polt is not really doing anything with that 2nd barracks. It was just a fast 2nd barracks, and he's going to do everything else normal. And the command center was just a little bit later because of it, but not a big deal. But it could have been an attack that he would not have Banelings for.
Alright, 7 Mutalisks going to pop out right here, but more importantly, his 1-1's timing out really nicely. Polt's not going to be too far behind, but I would hesitate to call anything really related to this a timing attack, because a lot of the times it's just the Mutalisk going for harass, and he'll just send his way on to 2-2, rather than trying to attack with 1-1. You're not going to get through a bunker too easily either. I mean, even if you do bust it, it's still a lot of Banelings that go down just to take down the bunker itself.
Yeah, it's true. Are missile turrets even out?
There's one.
Okay.
And he gets surround repair it too, so I mean, as long as he's not late with the response, he'll be okay here, I think.
Yeah, 1 turret's enough to deal with this low amount of Mutalisk, honestly, so he's not going to try and engage it. But, you know, in the past, we saw Polt not put them in the mineral lines, or at least not all the mineral lines. That was something good.
Yeah, he was won them by the refineries. I mean, the idea behind that too is to catch the Mutalisks a little bit sooner, keep your gas safer, but, I mean, everything up to this has just not been working out well for him. I like that we've seen this more like, dare I say, like, reserved, like, old school Polts. You know, doing things like the turrets in the mineral lines. He's got a lot of protection for Marines. He's not trying something weird with double factories. He's playing this a lot more close to the vest. He's actually gonna, severely supply block Armani, actually. This isn't 1 or 2 Overlords, this is about 5 in total that have gone down.
I'd supply blocked him a lot. 5 Overlords on the way, 6, 7 Overlords on the way.
But that's great, that's less Mutalisks, that's less Larva, that's everything going well for those snipes. And, you know, Armani's been pretty notorious about this. Oh, that medevac.
Jeez. Don't do that.
But I was gonna say, Armani's been notorious of this all day, just sending Overlords all over the map, spreading them like crazy.
Yeah, that was just before he had a chance to look at them and spread them out. It's unfortunate, but that was a really nice catch for Polt. Probably putting a third of the our bunker at that 3rd too. That was something he was missing on that 1st game.
Well, I mean, you pointed it out as well last game. We just had like that line of Overlords, right? So I mean, like that. Again, 1 Viking could have cleaned this up if it wasn't picked up by the Mutalisks so early. This time, well, actually, hang on. Mutalisks are going to find a way into the base. Picking up quite a few SCVs, actually.
That's so annoying. Every single one was building something. Come on.
Right, and the annoying thing here, too, is Polt's already across the map. He can't really turn around to go home. At this point, he's too far gone. He's too far invested. And hopefully, with the Mutalisks being across the map on the other side, he'll be able to push in. But more often than not, what we're seeing more commonly is those Mutalisks end up just flanking from behind, cleaning up the Marines that have just finished running away from the Banelings.
Yeah. Armani was still a little supply blocked, but surprisingly been using his money well. This 4th is not gonna... No, it's not coming up quite yet.
Well, Baneling's gonna collide with a couple of these Marines. The 4th base does go down. Worth noting, not a cancel.
Yeah. Things are looking a lot better for Polt. I mean, Armani's actually the one down in supply, where usually you'd want to be up in supply a little bit. Polt didn't lose that initial attack. He was able to get out with those medevacs. Or something that went wrong so poorly last game.
The other thing, too, is there's not a lot of creep spread over here. There's a lot of areas where Polt can actually engage off of creep and still take pretty nice fights. But he's got to be careful not to get split up too much here. Bentley snuck around. I didn't catch that, but caught the tail end of the SV's dying. So the third baseman Polt took a little bit of a hit.
Yeah, got to continue building SCVs at a time where you don't really want to be, but actually 14 isn't so bad. That fourth not having creep spread is actually a really big deal. If Polt was going to go for it, I'd talk about it a little bit more, but he's still trying to clear the creep up in the most direct path to the third.
Marines are just doing such a good job of thwarting the Zerglings, but without the Banelings, Armani's a little bit hesitant to engage, and rightfully so. Again, as you point out, down in supply, this is not going to be an easy trade to make, and Polt's looking strong, rallying 10 Marines at a time. His 2-2s nearing up completion here in a second. And Armani, this was noted, he's got 2 armor, but not weapon upgrades. These Zerglings are just not going to be that useful.
Yeah, forgot it. Thought he had enough gas for it or something went wrong, but hopefully he will recognize it at the very least and actually hit it eventually. He could be thinking he's completely on 2-2.
Oh, I thought that was a full wall off behind. Maybe that's only once you build the refinery, because the refinery takes up like a grid space.
I haven't researched it enough, but I think you're right. Because I sometimes it happens, sometimes it doesn't, and I'm always infuriated about it.
That's like
that sucked.
Yo, somebody who's like just casually watching right now, go do math for us. Find out that if you can like screenshot it too, if you could. Like if you build the refinery, I think that's a full wall off if you build the refinery. Could be mistaken though.
Okay, so now Polt is going to the position that's very, very popular in TVZ. If the creep isn't spread here, or if it goes on really, really fast, you have this great position where you can put some units on the high ground, that little ledge right there, and it does wonders. Polt's not doing it right now, but he could.
Oh, but here come the Banelings. These units are pre-spread. There's a lot more behind this duel where this came from. Widowmine's going to get some decent connects up, but Polt is spreading like crazy. Does he have enough Marines to take out the Mutalists is the big question. And if not, he could be in some trouble. But as we see Armani disengage, he's got a couple more Banelings ready. Marauders on the front line, soaking about 4 of them. Now actually maneuvering them behind this. They get eaten by a Widowmine. More Widowmine shots going off, and the Marines chasing back the Mutalists once again. Strangely enough, the Zerglings would be far more effective in this scenario because there's not a lot of actual ground units.
Yeah, it's always fun to think about and hard to realize when you're in the heat of the moment, but you are correct.
Like
I just push it back though.
But here comes the rally, and this time he does have those Hellbats we talked about before, the ones we didn't get to see in the first instance. He's got 2 factories. 3 factories, so he's once again got that 5 count, but this time it's not that awkward timing where it's done in no anti-air. His Marine force has been pushing strong, and now it's just it's accented even better accented rather than English here, by those Hellbats. So we here to soak the hits with those Marauders along the front lines, and as long as the Marines live, they can deal with the Mutalists, but that's a big if. Lots of Banelings connecting to the Marines and the Widowmines. Not going to stop them this time.
Polt's, he saw an opportunity, but I think he should have backed and waited a bit longer. Now he's down by 30 supply.
Ugh.
Thought he could break him, wasn't quite there. Now he's not over and done yet because Armani, I don't think his counter's going to be strong enough as long as Polt is pulling his units back at home. But Polt did take a blow right there.
Yeah, the Mutalist count dwindled heavily though. Let's not forget about that. I mean, Armani's down to 8 Mutalists, guys. This is no longer that 20 count that you see flying around that's so dangerous, that 1 shots, 2 shots turrets. So, I mean, Polt may have taken a heavy loss, he might be down in supply, but what's critical to note is Armani's supply now is primarily those Zerglings, not so much the Mutalisks anymore.
And he still hasn't realized he doesn't have +2 weapons, and there's no even thought of an infestation pit in the hive so far we can see. That's going to become a problem as Polt's +3 at the very least attack has finished up. Now Polt should be taking a more defensive approach right here. He should realize that he's down a little bit in supply, and going out and losing units willy-nilly is not the best thing. At least wait until that 4th is like a planetary with missile turrets and then push out. You
know, this is so awkward. These Zerglings keep getting in here. There's been a bunker, but there's not been a single Marine in this bunker the entire game. So he's going to take a little bit of losses. Not too many, though. The reinforcements will clean this up. But coming from the backside, this army just gets caught in the middle of nowhere. Yeah, I don't know. I don't like moves like this sometimes. Sometimes they work out great, but only usually if you're attacking. He did just kill a hell of a lot of Banelings for like 1 Hellbat.
Oh, okay. That I guess it worked out a little bit better than it was supposed to. But yeah, usually when you do drops or attacks off to one area, you're supposed to be doing something else off to another area. So it's like kind of like a free 10 supply or whatever.
Yeah, it's like the two-pronged part of it that makes it so dangerous. It's like, again, like Marines are not dangerous, it's with medevacs, and Marines with medevacs all over the map, well, that's a scary thought. But the Mutile Scout has climbed back up from 8 quite heavily, guys, up to 22. But the Banelings are only 10. He's morphing in a couple more right now, but Blue Flame is so close to finishing, and if there's one thing that's going to do a quick volley of these Banelings, it's going to be a couple Hellbats with Blue Flame shots. The problem is, once again, they're kind of just like all integrated in the army. He really needs to have these out in the front lines, because the Marines are having such a hard time kiting through this. More medevacs coming forward, but they're, oh, the Marines eat all the Banelings. Ooh.
Yeah, Polt should have waited just a little bit longer, I feel. Like, clearing up the creep, okay, fine, but then pull back immediately. Armani swamps the entire army. Nice put him on hit at the end right there, but again, you know, an alive Mutalisks is going to be alive and healthy in like 10 seconds anyways.
The nice thing, though, is with the Planetary Fortress up, this 4th is actually surprisingly secure. Again, the Mutalisks aren't really so numerous. Like, even 20 is still scary, 26 even. But they're not quite at that stage where they're going to auto-win you the game. So the Planetary will hold against the Lings. It'll do great against the Banelings. And let's not forget, it takes like what, like 18 Banelings to take down a Planetary or something? It's some really large, absurd number.
Yeah. The most fearful thing is that the Mutas do become large enough that they're the ones to take down a Planetary. There's no missile turrets.
We also have possible fungal growths coming out soon, something that's definitely been lacking. Armani's been trading it pretty well without it. Once he gets fungal growths, this gets even harder for Polts.
Good idea with the spine collars. I thought maybe those were just in the other bases, but this is the point that Polt's constantly going to be trying to attack because it's the closest to his 4th, but it's not going to work out with spine crawlers. This is a good Mutalisk attack.
Now, what happened on the left side just a moment ago with the Hellbats was precisely the way this needs to go down as far as Hellbats connecting to the Banelings. Unfortunately, though, Polt, again, he just doesn't have that 13 Marine rally. He doesn't have the units to actually fight. The army supplies are looking fairly even. Oh, man. Ooh, this scumbag Widowmine.
Seriously. Still has a bunch of... I mean, the Widowmine field is getting kind of scary. He's starting to produce, you know, very consistently free Widowmines. Hopefully he can start saving them, too. It's not just about saving the medevacs, but also saving the Widowmines. This drop's gonna do nothing.
But even then, like, that's one of those drops where you would want that to have drawn the army out of position, so you could have pushed that 4th, pushed that 5th. But the Spine Crawlers are actually going to perform magnificently against the Marines. The Banelings are just... I don't know, they're not quite Hyun level of Banelings, but they've been out of control so far this game. Because even with bad connects from these Widowmines, there's still, like, there's been a couple of really good ones, and still the Banelings still power through it.
Yeah. Oh, it's a wide open area. Fortunate for Polt, he moved the command center, so he still has that to use as a 5th rather than just losing it here.
Yeah. I think he's going to try and catch the Mutalisks, but unfortunately forced to fight with the Banelings now. We'll maybe catch a couple of them, but the Banelings coming down from the ramp means he's got to fall back, and he can't afford to lose these units.
The Widowmines are completely out of position. Were there any over there?
No, they're like all on the defensive. This actually burrowed. How did he burrow Banelings next to a Widowmine? How did neither of these players set one another off?
I don't know. I don't know. That could have been so, like, imagine this Widowmine field and Polt is like behind it rather than just like to the right or left of it. I don't know. Okay, Greater Spire, it's always like, you know, who does it anymore, and it's usually when they're really far ahead.
Every
but
because
time. They're so close in positions. The 4th, where Polt's army is, and Armani defending that 5th of his, that Broodlords are literally like, that was a great hit.
That was a really good hit.
Broodlords are so, like, they just have to, like, go forward, like, 5 feet, and they're at Polt's 4th base.
Right, but okay, actually, dropping the main is really nice. But every time we've personally seen Broodlords within the last month, it's been, like, the biggest throw of a game.
I always like to say that the throw, like, Zerg has the biggest, like, T3 throw units, but...
Yeah.
I think in this map, in this circumstance, and keep in mind, Armani is, you know, he's on a Pro League team. It's been working out a lot in Pro League, so...
Well, Widowmine's going to get some decent connects off here, maybe. Unfortunately, no. There's a lot of friendly fire splash damage going off right now. Why must we as Terran do this to ourselves? Everything we make kills us.
I guess because we have healers. I guess so.
Repair and, yeah, medevacs. Alright, well, actually, he'll be able to push down this base, which would be really nice. There's not enough Banelings here to deal with this. And again, a lot of this gas from Armani, he's got a pretty nice bank, but everything's been putting into these Broodlords, which, again, a strange choice. But one that might actually work.
Oh, wow.
Those
Suddenly the army is nothing.
Yeah.
Okay, then. Alright, so he only has one Broodlord on the way so far. He did make about 8, I think, Corruptors. Okay, he's starting to make more Broodlords. One just isn't that scary.
Oh.
But also getting in those Infestors. And Polt, like, breaking this position is so difficult. It's on the high ground. They have Spine Crawlers.
He's not going to have Vikings for this either, which is the absolute roughest thing to consider. Yeah, he sees the Broodlords coming in. Knocks down the rocks, I guess. Okay. But, okay, so the Vikings aren't even going to work, because even if he starts making them now, like, there's two ways to deal with this. One, you stim the Marines underneath the Broodlords, or you bring the Vikings in. But fungal growth will stop both of those from happening.
Yeah. It's still the best chance that he has, though, because Banelings on fungal growth, absolutely terrible. But just fungal growth, maybe the Vikings actually survive and still do the damage that they need. Or they undermake Corruptors, overmake Broodlords, you know, that type of scenario. They're the best chance that you have. You don't just want to rely on stimming underneath the Broodlords. But I think Polt just, you know, he doesn't have much of an economy, first of all. About to lose his 5th, too. Can't produce Vikings.
The other thing too is the Mutals have never let up the pressure this game. They have never been that force that was like an automatic win, but that might start be turning around as Polt starts relying on these extra bases more and more. He's mined out everywhere. Main, natural, and third. Well, there's one mineral patch left in the third.
Yeah. The greatest hope for a Terran sometimes is that the muta count just is forgotten about. Like, you kill the mutas and they don't remake them. So you can start taking these outlying bases that are only orbital commands and getting away with them.
The minefield, by the way, I'm just shocked that this is still established the way it is. It's not the amount that he has, but it's the fact that the Mutalists haven't come to do that, like, dive, pick him off, disengage move.
Well, actually, what's worse is the Broodlords.
He's using the Overlords to soak the hits!
Okay, that's pretty cool.
That is pretty cool.
The Broodlords could have done this, too. Just saying.
That's true, yeah. The Broodlings are free units.
It's just such a Polt. He just has nothing really to compete against this.
Well, what blows my mind about this is, like, we know Armani's a talented player, but never in my wildest dreams would I think Armani would 3-0 Polt, and it's looking like that may happen here. Polt's going to only have one opportunity to make something big happen. There's not going to be, like, a 40-minute drawn-out macro game, because he will lose that.
Yeah. He's starting to attack the outlying bases. He's starting to get an opportunity to, honestly, where he's actually attacking another place while attacking these ones, but he just lost his other orbital command. That was his main, I believe. He's down to just 2 orbitals, 1 planetary. This is his
trying
last
to stim forward. He's dodging a lot of these fungals, but another one finally lands. I think he managed to dodge about 4 before one finally went down, but the Broodlings are going to be too much. Hellbats will actually help clean these up a lot, but he can't move forward into the Broodlords.
Does he have enough? Oh my god.
Oh my god. I think he's going to break this. The Beetles are down. The Broodlords are not numerous enough. There's so many medevacs that the Broodlings can't kill the Marines. But even then, the Corruptors start coming in. They're going to pick off the medevacs, and once the medevacs go down, this Bioforce loses its strength, focusing down the Broodlords to the best of his capabilities. Polt puts on a big show, but is it enough in the end? He's got almost nothing behind this.
Well, let's look, alright? The 3 bases of Armani are not healthy either, so they're really both on the greatest economy ever. I mean, if Armani had lost all his Broodlords, he's not remaking all of them. But the mutas went down! All of the mutas went down because Armani thought he was going to win that battle. Now he doesn't have that automatic counterattack, you know? Maybe Polt can get a free base that's going to go unaccounted for a long time.
This one's being denied here pretty hardcore, actually. He really needs to get this one up. Bro, Zergling's going to be a bit of a nuisance. He'll have to scan. There you go, he'll clean these up. But this is crazy. This is crazy that we come back to this. So there's still some Corruptors in the air. There's a lot of fungal growths available, but the biggest thing... What, a swarm? The biggest thing coming forward, you're right, the Mutals are gone, but more importantly, the Baneling count has dwindled. How are you going to deal with massive like, fungal growths do a little bit of damage. Not a lot.
Not only is the offensive capabilities of mutas gone now, the defensive one is as well. So now would be a great time for Paul to try and do those those drops, those attacks every which way.
Or the walks.
Yeah, the walks.
Alright, well, he's going to take out a base here. This was maybe not the most important base, but he's still mining pretty heavily off of it. Losing these drones is going to hurt as well. Yikes.
Okay, this is something we haven't talked about when we should have, because I think it also played heavily into that one battle that we did see. Polt is on such a low SCV count. The supplies you see on top are not what it actually is. I mean, he was down by a good 30 SCVs until just now.
That's a good point. So that's why he had a much bigger army supply. But at the same time, like, he wasn't necessarily maxed out. So I don't know. Either way, he's going to have to pick up out of here. These Marines are not going to stand a chance. Well, actually, no, I take that back. He's not on level 3 weapon upgrades. Armani's still on level 1 weapon upgrades for melee. And he's got Broodlords?
How did he forget to get plus? Is he... This might be a case of him that's not caring. But that would kind of boggle my mind. Like, really? Not getting any, like, more weapon upgrades?
He can't afford it at this point, though. That's the thing. Like, with the low economy situation, he very literally can't afford it.
Wait, you can go back there? You can't drop there, can you?
There's no way. If you could unload here, that'd be so dumb or broken. Middle of the map, though, fungal growth does go off, and these Marines will go down. Unfortunately, the medevacs do get away. So, again, the planetary fortress standing is going to be the scariest, strongest thing.
Oh, no.
Infested Terrans take out that, yeah. You know, if that was a planetary, that might be a little bit different, too. For Polt, he's had to float a lot of his command centers around, guys. He never got the opportunity to make, like, the 13 additional command centers that Terran players always fantasize about. But this drop in the north, he's got a potential drop here on the west. I mean, this is, for both players, a really crappy situation to be in. I think Polt's just a little bit further behind, though.
Yeah, he is. But the thing about Armani's composition, can't take care of drops. You leave them alone for 1 second, suddenly that's a lot of supply dead, because Blue Lords really, they suck by themselves.
They really do. But these Marines are going to get here on the left side. They will take out a new base. Infester's trying to come in here for some fungal growth. They let a couple of the medevacs, but the base gets sniped.
This is a trap. You know, Polt going in here with his entire army was kind of a mistake. That was a guaranteed, like, he's going to be able to trap me. And he gets out with just 2 of his medevacs, but that's it. Gonna go straight for the main. Gonna try and take out all the tech.
He's going for the Greater Spire, but I don't know, man. Both players on one base mining effectively. It's the same base on each side of the field.
Yeah, the difference
is
he had that army, but now he doesn't.
Polt's gonna have no army. GG is called. After a miraculous fight that he somehow pulls out of his ass, he still loses the game. Polt, unfortunately, will fall 3-0 to Armani.